In my life, I have been lucky or unlucky to find myself in faraway places that were dangerous. And I've learned to rely and listen to that sense when it tells you something's not right, to listen to it. When you're in the wilderness, you are no longer the top of the food chain. And I hate to say it, many times the most dangerous thing out there are other people.
My name is Joe Woody. I've been an avid fly fisherman in these Appalachian mountains for the past 25 years.
There it is. Woo! Got him. Oh, he's colored up beautiful.
And in that time, I've not only heard about some interesting stories, but also encountered some unforgettable situations myself.
I don't remember where he went. He was gone. Who am I talking to? First of all, who am I talking to? God?
So come along the journey with me as we dive deeper into these stories of forgotten streams of Appalachia.
Okay, there we go. In December of 2005, I took my son on a fishing trip into Eagle Creek in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I remember it was a very cold day. And I got my son and said, hey, let's go hiking. Let's go hiking and fishing. I want to show you Creek. So we rented a boat out of Fontana Dam. But when in the wintertime, they lower the water levels of Lake Fontana, so you can't take a boat all the way up to it like you can in the summertime. So we had to park the boat here, walk over this little ridge line right next to the river, and come down in the first campsite. So this is where the encounter began. My son and I were walking over the ridge line from our boat where we parked it. Cold December day, and we come in to the campsite here on Eagle Creek, the first campsite. And there's someone in the campsite here next to the lake, well, next to the river at that time. And he was putting his tent together. So like you always do out in the wilderness, you just don't walk up on somebody unannounced. That's how people get hurt. So I had my son behind me, and as we got a little closer, I said, hey, we're going fishing, going up the stream a little bit. He said, hey, I'm just putting my stuff together, come on through. So no big deal, right? No big deal. Nothing particular spooky at this time. I'm just as alert as I always am. See where the sun's coming down on that spot right there? Let me drop a fly on that. I've caught fish before where the sun through trees, the beam of light comes out on the water. And I have a video with Barry, my buddy Barry. There's a hole in the canopy and a beam of light was shining right on the water. It was dark everywhere with that water. And I said, Barry, what are the chances? He said, let me try. And he floated a fly right down over it, and as soon as it hit that beam of light, a trout just come up and just took it. It was perfect, I'm casting it right through a window of 2 trees. Luckily, there's nothing back here. And so right there, I have enough room to make the flies float down. See that? Just float down right where I want it. And that little bit of drift right there looks natural to a trout. That drift, that natural drift is what you're, oh, there it was. Did you see it? There it was. My son and I left, went up Eagle Creek for about an hour, hour and a half. It was very cold. My son wanted to come back. So we turned around and came back early. When we got back to the campsite, we came across this man still putting his campsite together. It was a little weird that he hadn't gotten it put together in the hour, hour and a half that we were gone. So I'm thinking, hey, it's probably a new tent, something I've had that, having a hard time put your tent together if you ain't got the instruction or something. Sometimes I guess it can be hard. So we just came and Tim struck up a conversation. So I remember asking the gentleman, I say, you need some help? And he was like, no, I got some new gear. I'm just trying to make sure everything's right, and just casual conversation. So as we sat there and talked, he began telling me the story of coming in to the national park through Bryson City and the road to nowhere, going up over high passes and snowdrifts. There was something that stood out about this guy that I never forgot him. So as being the nice Appalachian that I am, I said, I know you want to finish your hike, but we have a boat. If you want to come with us, you're welcome. And without hesitation, this man said, yes, I want to come. Fish have disappeared a little bit. Oh, there you go. Oh, there. Well, there it was.
I think where we'll head next is Looking Glass Falls. It's a beautiful place to fish, and I love fishing there.
I may have to change my fly over there if I can't. I'm gonna try a big woolly booger on the bottom. Strip it back.
I'll go ahead and say it. We didn't catch anything. Most likely because of all the tourists splashing around and my mediocre fishing abilities. But it's still such a beautiful place to fish.
I'm gonna try my woolly booger routine. Something a little bigger, a little beefier. See what I can draw in there. Changing up tactics a little bit. Trying to get that woolly booger down as deep as I possibly can. And then as it goes down further across the hole, I'll bring it back. Maybe that'll be the ticket. See if I can get a roll cast all the way over there in that corner. See that? Maybe one more time. Right there. See if that works. I shouldn't have. My son was with me, but I said, we've got a boat just right over the ridgeline there. If you want to come with us, we'll take you across. I did not expect him to do that, but without hesitation, he said yes. Like he was almost desperate to get out of here. So I was like, huh. I was really hoping you would have turned my invitation down, but he didn't. So he got his stuff together a lot faster than he put it out, for sure. Put it in his bag, and we started walking back over the ridgeline to our boat. If you know anything about that area, that trail that comes in, there's a cliff that goes right into Eagle Creek. 45-foot drop down to the water. If you fall there, you're probably not gonna be okay. So at this point, we've gotten this stuff together and we're walking up the trail to where my boat is over the ridgeline. Something is not feeling right. Not feeling right. And he's behind us right here at this point. So as I approached the trail marker here, it says campsite 90. I turned, looked at him and said, you go ahead of us. I love this place. It's beautiful, and there's a big population of brook trout up there. Sometimes they get washed over, they can't get back up. So the idea is to throw this Griffith's net right up through here and see what happens. This is the part about adventure angling in the mountains of western North Carolina, where you can't be afraid to get dirty. That sun coming in right above us should shield my shadow from these fish. But let's see. Got him. Little brook trout. Oh, he's colored up beautiful. Just beautiful. This is what we come for right here. Look at the way that fish is colored up. Oh my goodness. This here is a true Appalachian, Southern Appalachian brook trout. It's special. These fish are almost wiped out 80, 100 years ago. And they've retreated back above waterfalls like this. And they're what makes you come back out time and time again. He almost went through that hole. He did. Oh my God. Now, what told me to ask this man to walk in front of us along that cliff? I've thought about that a long time. There was something about the situation that didn't make sense. Didn't make sense. Because I knew that this trail right up here, there's a steep drop off onto rocks into the creek. Right now, looking at this cliff, you know, it's intimidating, right? You don't want to fall down this. You'll fall into the lake. But keep in mind, during the winter drawdown of the lake goes down another 65 feet. So right over this edge here, and it gets a little steeper right there. The creek comes right by this bank, and another 65-foot drop is pure rocks down there. So if you fall down this, you're going over that edge onto those rocks. That's where I did not want him behind us. Just one of those things. Trust the instincts in the back of your head. Trust it. The feeling on the back of your neck. Say it all the time. If something doesn't seem right, trust it and take appropriate action. He said, okay. So we got in the boat, went back to the marina. I went in to turn in my gear, said goodbye, never saw him again.
A confessed serial killer who pleaded guilty to killing 2 hikers from Henderson County is scheduled to
2010, I'm watching television, and they were talking about the murders that had happened just here in Pisgah National Forest, just about a mile and a half from here, as the crow flies. It's not very far. And the 2 people had gone missing, and they had caught the guy who had done it. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I remember I was sitting on the couch, and the picture of this guy pops up on the screen, and I went, wow, that's the guy I ran into on Eagle Creek. Some people call him the National Forest Killer. Is he the same man that my son and I encountered on Eagle Creek in December of 2005? The impression that the Griffiths net would be the killer, but the takes that I'm getting are timid at best. I'm getting a lot of looks are coming up off the bottom, looking and going back down. So what I'm going to do is add a tiny nymph to this that's going to bounce off the bottom underneath my elk hair caddis. That might be the ticket. Could be wrong. We'll see. But I think they're looking downward instead of upward. And I'm going to change tactics on them. Just that little bit of weight add on, and it's tiny, a smidgen of weight changes my whole casting technique. Now I'm primarily using my elk hair caddis as a strike indicator, and I'm fishing with a nymph deeper in the water column. I'm just going to have to be quicker on the uptake here because they're nudging it. As soon as I feel the hit or see it, I'm going to have to get faster at my setting of the hook. I guess that's why they call it fishing. You see that? Sometimes, man. But he hit that little nymph. I ain't gonna catch him again. See it following it? Little brook trout. This is a true southern Appalachian brook trout. This don't keep it out of the water too long. You see the colors on its fins. This is average, a little smaller than average. They get, if you catch a 10 or 12 inch brook trout, you've got a unicorn. These are the fish that I spend my days trying to track down. The true southern Appalachian brook trout. Sometimes they're the most beautiful fish on the face of the earth. Most of the time, all the time. Let's see if we can catch one up there and further up in the streams. That, having a fish the size that came up to my fly up there, that, if I'd have caught that fish, that would have been special. Been special, man. But alas, we didn't catch him. We did not catch him. A few months ago, I saw there was a special about Gary Michael Hilton and the murders that he had committed. And one of those specials talked about the lady who disappeared in Bryson City in December of 2005. Her name was Rosanna Malini. She was seen around Bryson City, and a lady who owns a outdoor shop or a pawn shop remembers her with a man matching the description of the killer, came into their shop and bought camping gear and clothes. So that explained to me why he was having a hard time putting his camping gear together, because he'd never put it together. So what are the possibilities of this fella doing something terrible to this lady in the national park where he walked, where I ran into him on Eagle Creek? Say it's pretty good, and I want to investigate that more. This is the spot with 95% certainty that I encountered Gary Michael Hilton, the so-called serial killer responsible about 4, probably more, deaths in Western North Carolina, Florida, and Georgia. Eugene and I have been talking, and believe it or not, had an experience along the same lines.
So he was like, you know what? He said, I'm gonna let you walk away. He said, you don't know how lucky you are. He said, you really don't know.